I, a 30, female, don't have the best relationship with my husband's mom. Since day one, she tried to make remarks and compare me to her. She then tried to get on my good side, and started overly praising everything I do and sometimes even copying me. Like that one time when she literally dyed her hair purple just like mine, and when everyone pointed out how ridiculous she looked, she actually blamed me and accused me of trying to make a joke out of her. So, anyways, my husband and I took 2 weeks off work to go visit some places out of the country, tourism in other words. Thing is, I was the one who saved up for and arranged for the trip. My husband was responsible for booking the tickets. My husband's mom wanted to come along and threw temper tantrums when I said no. She called, texted, sent people to talk to me into letting her come, even threatened to call the police and make some complaint to get us to stay if she can't come. My husband said we should just take her, but I told him he was wrong to tell her about the trip in the first place. He gave me an ultimatum, said he wouldn't go if she can't come, and I told him I'd gladly call his bluff, which made him take his words back and say fine. I will tell her to stop it because we won't take her. Things got quieter, suspiciously quiet. The day of the trip came and we got to the airport at 2 p.m. My husband was walking ahead of me and was looking left and right like he was looking for someone. I asked him, but he didn't respond. He led me to the waiting area, and the first thing I saw was his mom standing there with her luggage. I froze in my spot. I felt a cold wave washing over me and I was fuming inside. She and my husband were hugging. That's when I quietly turned around and started walking towards the exit. My husband followed me while shouting at me to stop. He tried to stop me, but I told him off in the harshest way possible. He tried to say I was overreacting and that his mom was there anyway and I should let it go and not mess the trip up for us. I told him he and his mom could still go and that I was going home. I went home and sobbed into my dog's fur for several minutes. Turned out he booked her a ticket without me knowing. An hour later he came home yelling and raging about how pathetic and spiteful I was to walk out and go home and ruin the trip last minute. I told him he caused this to happen. He said that I was being so hard on his mom, it's ridiculous. I refused to fight anymore, but he kept on berating me, then called my family to tell them that the trip was cancelled and that it was because of me. My family said that I shouldn't have ruined it for myself and should have sucked it up and done my best to enjoy it. Did I really overreact? Update. I don't know where to begin. It's been an absolute nightmare recently, and I felt like I was losing my sanity. So for more details about my situation, I have to admit that my husband's mom favors him over all his siblings. This affected his relationship with them and me as well. He's never seen an issue with how differently his mom treats him. It bothered me and made me feel uncomfortable. The whole dynamic made me feel uncomfortable. Going low contact has never even been an option. Like he has to see her or call her every day. Most of his siblings don't talk to him, and I 100% believe it's because of his mom's favoritism, like I said. He does bear some blame for not seeing how wrong this is till this day. In many instances I found myself making excuses for his behavior, even in my posts. I did it spontaneously and I don't know why. But I guess it's because of how much I love him and because I really wanted to be able to work these types of things out without letting them affect our marriage. Regarding what happened on the trip, he tried to have a talk with me and most of what he said came from place of blame. Blame towards me. I just couldn't continue with this argument. I told him I needed space and that I would be going to stay with my sister for a while. He didn't take it well. He literally got up from the couch and opened the door telling me to go right then. In that moment, and seeing how he was still not even anywhere near understanding what he had done, just made things perfectly clear to me. I just had pictured years and years of my life being lived like that, and I was like, no, I can't do it. Can't take any more of it, especially when he keeps focusing on being right every time. His mom can do no wrong. I'm always aggressive, crazy, jealous, pathetic, overreacting. All these people's opinions, advice, and concerns were like a spark like the wake-up call I really needed. Though I wish that it didn't get this far, but what's done is done. Right now I'm staying with my sister. I brought my dog with me as well. He sent me his last message telling me that I'm the one choosing to end what we had together, but I believe it's the other way around, especially with how he keeps making his mom the victim in this situation. It's become clear now that we keep going in circles with no end in reach, and I'm just so exhausted and overwhelmed. I'm not mad at him and don't expect him to change, but at least I'm given options to decide what's best for me and my future, even if it's separation and divorce. A big thank you to those who reached out with resources that I feel very lucky to have come across. Just wanted to give you an update since many of you asked for it. Not an idiot. I'm sorry you are going through this, but I'm also so very proud of you. You are standing up for yourself, putting yourself first, looking into the future and making sure it will be what you want it to be. I wish you the best of luck. Give the doggo the biggest of hugs and lots of pets. Not an idiot. I am so proud of you. My mother-in-law almost caused my divorce after she tried convincing my husband that I was abusive to our kids. He hid this from me out of embarrassment. It wasn't handled correctly, but years of therapy have helped our relationship survive. He knows she's crazy, at least. She has taken little ownership in her plot to end our marriage. I have nothing to do with her. You made the right choice. Would you have left her at the airport? Let me know in the comments. But now, buckle up because you won't want to miss the next story. Am I an idiot for refusing to sell the place I bought with stripper money? For several years I was a stripper. I have no shame about what I did, and only quit when I got a better job offer. In the time I worked as a stripper, I intentionally lived as cheaply as possible. A shitty little studio flat, living off ramen, wearing old clothes, because my coworkers all told me that they were able to buy their own places on their income, so long as they saved like crazy. Before I retired, I managed to outright buy myself a 3-bedroom flat. I rented out the other rooms for a while, but I got sick of having roommates. So now I have them up online for shorter stays, but not to rent. I met this guy about 18 months ago, and we've been together since. He knows about my employment history, and he said that he has no issue with it, though he did ask me to tell his family the white lie I occasionally use on my CV and stuff, which is that I was a waitress, which I kind of was TBF. A month ago we found out that I'm 2 months pregnant. He says this is great news, and we should move in together. I assumed he'd be moving into my place because he rents his far smaller 1-bedroom flat while I own mine, and I have room for a baby's room while he doesn't. Also, I really don't want to leave my flat. It's my flat, I love it. I could see myself living here for the rest of my life, and I don't want to lose the security of owning a flat and having to go back to paying rent or a mortgage each month. However, he then said that he didn't want to move into my place, and said I should sell it and we buy a place together. I said that I like my place. It means a lot to me that I was able to buy it, and it represents years of working my arse off scrimping and saving. He then said that he understands all of that, but we should be living together by the time the baby comes and he didn't want to live in my flat. I asked him why not. It's a great flat. It's central to everything. It's spacious. It's got room for all his stuff. There's a daycare in the building, owned by another tenant, and a school 5-minute walk away. The list goes on. And he said that he didn't want to live in a flat that was bought with stripper money. That really pissed me off, and I told him no freaking way am I selling my flat and that he never had an issue with my stripper money paying for this flat before now. I said I wasn't giving up the security of owning a home for someone who tries to make me feel ashamed about something I don't feel ashamed of. He said that his point is if I sold the flat then we could get a new place with the money from the sale. I said wouldn't that still be stripper money? And he said that's different, and I asked how. He then said he was going back to his place because I can't talk to you when you're in this state. He's gone back to his flat now and he's texted me saying I'm overreacting, irrational, and I need to think of this realistically rather than emotionally. He says he wouldn't feel right raising a child in my flat knowing how I purchased it and selling. Moving is the best idea of all of us, not to mention the fact he isn't on the deed because it's my place and it would never feel like our place because of this. I feel I might be the arse because I get why he might feel like it's just my place, and I feel I'm being too rigid in a time we need to work together. Plus I spoke to my sister and she sided with him, so 2 out of 3 people think I'm in the wrong here. Am I an idiot? Update on the off chance anyone sees this, I dumped him. There was a whole conversation, and during the conversation he said he didn't want to be a parent if I wasn't willing to do everything he wanted, including sharing a house, deed, plus staying together. Also, at the start of the conversation I said what a few people suggested, which was that I'd be willing to sell and split the house with him, provided he paid 50%, and he got very angry, very quickly. He also said a few other things, so IDK how it's all going to pan out just yet, but it looks like I'm going to be a single mother. Update, because a lot of people asked for one. First off, I dumped him. He initially said that he doesn't want to be a parent if we're not a couple, but earlier this week he told me he wants majority custody, so not only does he not have to pay child support, but if he gets majority then I end up paying him. He actually said that was his reasoning. He also runs his own startup, and admitted the startup is basically done for, and he was hoping that when I sold my place I could also put a cash injection into his business with the money. So basically this was all about money for him, and I have extensive documentation of all of this. There's going to be a legal case, but I've gotten legal advice, and it looks like I'll be able to get sole custody, which is what I intend to go for. In the last couple weeks, my sister has doubled down and is trying to get me to fix things with my ex because a baby should have a complete family, so I've not been involving her in my pregnancy, which she is furious about. She also told our parents, which I am furious about, so we're not speaking right now. I also want to say thank you to everyone who commented on my first post. When I first posted, between my boyfriend and my sister, I was genuinely convinced I was in the wrong. So to have such an overwhelmingly supportive response really helped me realize that I shouldn't doubt myself so much. And with that realization, plus everything going on right now, I've decided to go to therapy, which I will be starting next week. All in all, the outcome of this is probably going to be me being a single mother in the flat I own. And honestly, pretty decent outcome, not an idiot. I have to call crap the baby needs a complete family. A kid can have a mom and dad and still have a dysfunctional family. Single parent, 2-parent, parents of the same sex, it doesn't matter. Your ex sounds controlling and a leech. All the reasons he wants to be together or be a father are more for his benefit. Good luck to you, Opus, and your baby, not an idiot. You dropped a gold digger and your life will be much better for it. The kid needs a complete family thing is a crap guilt trip attempt when the other adult is complete garbage. Growing up, I was much better off after my parents divorced. It looks like you got legal advice and you're all set to move forward. Now, for the last story. Am I an idiot for throwing my kids' clothes onto the floor when they don't fold their clothes neatly? So I've always been kind of a neat freak mom the entire time my kids have been alive. I always expect their rooms to be clean, and I check their drawers, closets, storage bins to make sure they don't just shove stuff in there to make the room appear clean. The kids, 16, 13, 9, and 6, are all responsible for putting away their laundry, and my oldest 2 are responsible for folding their own clothes, which bothers me because my 13-year-old folds his clothes in a way that bothers me. He rolls them up instead of properly folding them. Ever since the kids have been home and have more free time, I am more strict about the way they put away their clothes. I expect their clothes to be folded a certain way and organized in a certain way in their drawers. I read from a mommy blogger a few years ago that when her kids' drawers weren't organized, she would make a mess for them to organize the right way. I considered it for a few years, but now that the kids are old enough, I think it's the way to go for us. I haven't had to do this until yesterday. I walked into my 16-year-old's room while she was FaceTiming her boyfriend and saw her basket of laundry that needed to be folded, and out of curiosity, opened her drawers and saw she had shoved her clothes in there. I started making a mess and she screamed, "Mom, why?" And I told her she knew why. After that I walked out of her room. She explained to her boyfriend what I did and he says, "Your mom's freaking crazy, bruh," and I peek my head into her room, give her a look, and she ends the call with him and breaks down crying. I told my husband what happened. He told me, "I knew you said you were gonna do that, but I didn't know you would actually follow through." This morning I woke up to a note on my daughter's door saying, "Until mom can get mental help, I'm staying with Aunt," my sister's name. I texted her, no response. I tried contacting my sister, who said she has no plans to return until I get mental help and stop being such a controlling bitch. My husband, sister, and mom are all against me in this, which hurts. I don't think it harmed my daughter, it benefits her and helps her stay organized. Update. Almost 2 months ago I made a post here about me throwing my daughter's clothes onto the drawer when they weren't folded neatly. While that post really blew up, people on Twitter also chimed in. While the night I made the post, I was still in serious denial. I replied to some comments and my denial was perfectly clear for everyone to see. The day after, I read some more comments and messages I received from everyone. I resorted to the guest room and cried for hours. I read some people tell me that their moms were similar to me and they no longer have relationships with them. That was truly my worst fear. I seriously love my kids more than anything on this planet, even if my actions don't always show it. I booked a virtual appointment with a psychologist who diagnosed me with OCD and let me know she would help me. I have since had about 8 sessions with her and she has been a big help. Of course, I still have a long way to go, but I have been noticing some improvements already. As for my daughter, she stayed at my sister's house and came home a few days later after I told her that there would be major improvements made in my behavior. I sat all the kids down and told them that I have the resources to not be such an overbearing idiot to them anymore. One thing I do want to address is the fact that I was usually controlling with my kids, but the incident I wrote about was the one that sent both me and my daughter over the edge. Me and her are on much better terms. I want to thank Reddit for waking me the hell up to become a better mom and wife. I also want to apologize to anyone who I brought back bad memories to. I want to have relationships with my children until we all grow old, and I know so many of you guys don't have that, which breaks my heart, but also hearing your stories gave me a big change of heart and are helping me fix my relationships and become a better person, not an idiot. Hey, good for you for taking the initiative and changing for the better. I hope your kids admire the changes you're making to be a better parent to them. OCD is super hard without help to manage, so congrats. Not an idiot. My mom was like this when I was a kid. We now no longer speak due to her overbearing, controlling behavior and for many other reasons that she refused to get help for and still to this day won't. I wish my mom had taken it upon herself to recognize how much damage she was doing and make moves to amend it in the way you have, Opus, as we may still have a relationship if she had.